In this video lecture, we're going to be introducing the therapeutic factors that Yalom identified. There are 11 factors, sometimes called curative factors. The first is installation of hope. Now, what is that? Well, a lot of clients come to counseling feeling dejected, demoralized, and when they see other people in the group making major life changes, they feel like they themselves can change as well, and it gives hope. Next is universality, this sense that we're all in the same boat, that my experience is not unique to me, as Yalom would say, that I am not unique in my wretchedness. The next is imparting information. This is particularly useful in psychoeducational and support groups where you want to hear from other members, hear how they've handled things before. Be careful though, because if a group delves too deeply into advice giving, while it can demonstrate mutual interest and caring, there are issues with it. I mean, for one, some people will ask for advice but reject it when it's given to them. Others will become dependent on advice. They're constantly looking for advice and they don't know when to trust their own gut intuition. And so for that reason, it's not wise for clients to become reliant on advice from others. Next is altruism. Kind of stemming from advice giving, really. The other nice thing about group therapy that's unique from individual therapy is that you are able to give feedback and help out other people in group work. And that can feel good, you know, that you feel like you're helping other people, and that itself can be healing. The next is corrective family recapitulation. In some group settings, and I don't see this often in my own work, but it does happen at times, a person's own family background will show up in the room and it will need to be worked through. For example, they may have transference towards like a mother figure in the room. But also what can happen is the group can become a family, kind of. And you have like parental figures and sibling rivalries happening in the group. So that can also occur. And if that's worked through, that can help the person long-term kind of make sense of their own childhood and what they missed and maybe its relevance to their own functioning now. Next is development of socialization techniques. Social skills deficits are there for a lot of our clients. You know, they're ever present. You see this, for example, in clients who have difficulty with perspective taking, with understanding what others are thinking. They have difficulty with asking for help, or they have difficulty with give and take, like you have a client who'll spend all session talking and not ask for your input or thought at all. So that happens in individual counseling. And in group counseling, it shows up, of course, even stronger, and group members will react to it. So, for example, a client may have difficulty being sensitive when others are emotional, and may dismiss their emotions offhand, and that's obviously detrimental to relationship building. And so getting the feedback that they seem cold or aloof is helpful to that member. I'm going to talk next about imitative behavior, also known as modeling. When you are a group member, it's very helpful to learn from others and to get a sense from how you could do things better. And for example, less assertive members of the group may take notes from more assertive members and learn that way. And we tend to learn from each other, particularly teenagers and adolescents. Catharsis is next. A lot of clients have these deep-seated secrets that they don't feel they're able to talk to anyone else about. And while certainly in individual counseling you get a sense of relief while talking about it, it's even more of a relief when you could do so in a group setting with multiple strangers around you. Now that emotional expression, Yalom would say, needs to be tied with cognitive change in order for any kind of good outcome to occur. It's not enough just to have catharsis. And the kind of self-reflection that happens after a disclosure is very important. And so Yalom would often pause the action and ask that member, what was it like to talk about this? What did you think about the feedback you got? And help them process that more deeply. And again, that would be more of a function of your long-term outpatient group, also known as a process group. Existential factors is next, and existential factors pertains to when a person is thinking about, when a group is working through these deeper thematic issues, such as death, if the group is facing termination, and that brings up things for people, brings up finality, the limitations of existence. Meaning making is also a major function of group work because you often find different members have very different takes on the same incident or event. And so learning that we have these different ways of looking at something and that the way we attribute meaning matters is helpful in counseling. The last two are so important that Yalom devotes an entire chapter of his famous group therapy text to them. And so I'm going to actually spend the next two video lectures diving into them in much more detail. One is interpersonal learning, and the second is cohesion. And that wraps up an intro to Yalom's 11 therapeutic factors.